longer to find the right colored thread than it did to fix it, okay?
So $10 delivery? For sure it was probably $10.99.
All right, if we could just stand
Well, I'm
for the
thinking,
pledge,
at least.
please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathleen, I'm sure you have a copy of the public notice.
Yes, sir, right here, if
If
anyone
anyone
wants
would
to
like
see
to
it.
see it. This is going to be a hopefully quick budget workshop. We did meet last month and we went over a ton of stuff, and I think we really got a lot done in one night. As some of the other numbers came in, I made some changes. So what I did is I tried to give you a sheet as to what was changed after we verbally spoke. And exactly what it is that we changed. Basically, we decreased $21,693. We can go over everything if anybody would like. Certain areas you want to go over or certain things you want to go over, but basically 2016 it was 6.335 was the tax rate. 2017 would be 6.327, approximately a 0.25% decrease versus 2016.
Okay, don't worry, the ring is off though.
That's right.
I'm gonna talk to you, but it's off. Scares me.
That was a weird one there, yeah. So basically, we have the library number where we didn't have that before. We have Howells where we didn't have that before. If anyone has any questions on it, we could, I guess, address those first. One thing, on the police line, at our last meeting, we decided to add some additional overnights in the summer. So you'll see that the 0.1 is an increase, that, you know, everyone, all 5 of us agreed that we wanted to add the extra 4-hour shifts. I think it was 16 4-hour shifts we were adding.
That was in June and July. Correct.
That was like June through August.
August.
Everything else, I mean, there were a couple of things when we met that night where I thought it was gonna have to be a little longer than what it was. Some of the contractual lines, I was able to put the money back in. Most of those, basically 99% of the increases over last year is all contractual. It's all payroll, union contracts, and raises, health insurance. There's pretty much no significant gravy left in the budget, so I guess I'll just leave it as, seeing if anyone has any questions. Don, you got any questions?
No, have we gone over everything we need to go?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Brian?
No.
Matt?
No questions.
Okay. So, I think we need to set the public hearing, right, Kathleen? Which is going to be,
November, well, if you stick with the schedule we adopted at the beginning of the year, November 10th. November 10th, and that'll be, that's our actual first meeting of the month for November, it's a Thursday night.
yep, okay, so, motion to set a public hearing for the 2017 budget, November 10th. at 7:15 here at Town Hall. Motion to set the date for the public hearing.
Can I make that motion?
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Kathleen, is this foilable now, if anyone wants to? Okay.
It's 18 pages.
Perfect. Well, we've got 8 minutes.
Hey, David, can I borrow you 2 seconds to talk to you about something?
Are you gonna close the public hearing? Or leave it open? I'm just saying if he's gonna talk to him.
Yeah, motion to close the budget workshop.
I'll make the motion to close the workshop.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
I promise I'll be super I have an email you wrote a while ago.
I can tell me that this little bit was 17 minutes or 15 minutes.
It is shrunk down. That's down to 65%. Listen, it was either that or I had to retype the whole thing, I was doing that.
Just teasing me, just like, it's information.
Yeah.
Really, information.
I'm telling you, it's getting, we're and worse.
Rather than
Right, if we were closer, 7:20. Yeah, I don't believe you can.
Oh, I know. I know she is. I think we'll have enough offer anyway. Did you say something announced this place? Yes, they selected the board. I don't know if she's.
Oh, you ever done that lately?
I
tried to avoid it.
Well, I just thought
So much easier. And alright, so I just put them all in so I can leave them It's funny
Assistant Chief.
The China Arts Revival, you have endorsement.
I didn't get that memo. That's what I thought, I saw
Everybody ask any questions. I mean, need you to send me a copy of that email. I don't have access to that
He hasn't been profitable.
Oh, I'm gonna go. No, he looks like a nice guy. You can rip him over.
That's all right.
I didn't do that yet.
foil. But I said since you were coming along, I was gonna have you.
I mean,
I would have sent it to you also.
I mean, more it almost sounds like they're asking you to be here just to come in. They haven't even got daylight savings.
So really, yeah.
And she went through the 20 minutes.
You
So like my example, where I live, the next guy, he built a well for 320 So that's my other saying, yeah, but what I was saying, so, because 2 years ago, my that's how I come.
You have a jet pump or you have a?
I did have, I
have a jet pump.
myself already.
I can't, because it's so shallow.
Shallow, right?
Yeah, under 50 feet, you really can't even do that.
Well, mine, right now, when we have that question out there, everywhere it's there. He's done a lot of work. And he said that, look, that's probably what it works for you. If it doesn't, I'm going to wait up front and take that idea and see what happens. And thank God, I was on, his drive is bad.
No, neither do I.
I only understand this because I'm trying really hard to stay in the lines of color Absolutely. How you doing?
I got a question. They sent me 2 of those voting registrations, because my property split 50 by 208, 50 by 208, but the house is really only 100, you know, I mean, it's 100 by 208, but I had 2 separate taxes lots for years, so I can only get 1 vote, I guess. Because I only live in one.
Those are top to lower back.
I'm just saying, that kind of scares me.
I told the
I gave her the numbers, I already gave her the one, you know, what do I do in circles? It really black out, I was like, I didn't, I said, what am I supposed to do here? I understand what the numbers are. Cut it off, where's the form? You know, you show 1 or 2 or 3 right now, and give it to her, or you can. Hi, honey. You really want to do it? But it ain't. Some of them, I bet you can read it.
They told you according to explanation or whatever. Once it's about.
Oh, you're in trouble.
I don't know.
No, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, very vague, very vague. Just look at this newsletter, and that's it.
Might as well.
All right, we're ready to continue, 7:30 now.
Cut off, yeah.
We already did the pledge. If everyone could just take a second and check their cell phones, make sure they're on silent or they're off, that would be great. A motion to approve the minutes from October 3rd, 2016.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Correspondence, Kathleen?
I have the resolution regarding section 13, block 1, lot 5, for purchase. I believe. Supervisor's report for September. Copy of a letter from Kelly Torturo, Acting Regional Director, regarding interest in acquiring delinquent tax parcel 19129. Resignation from Police Officer Robert Kozlowski, effective October 31st. Budget modification from the Police Department. A letter from Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney regarding the Transportation Alternatives Program. Correspondence from the Association of Towns for the 2016 Personnel Management School. The Police Department monthly report for September. That's all that I have.
Thanks, Kathleen. Committee reports. Board member reports. What do you got, Matt?
2 items. There are no zoning or planning meetings scheduled for this month, and the next comprehensive plan workshop is scheduled for the 27th at 5 p.m. at the town hall.
They are all open to the public.
Correct. And that is it.
5 o'clock, you said?
Yes, 5 p.m.
Thank you.
Great. Kathleen, would you call Adam tomorrow, put that on the website?
That meeting?
Yes. Please. I don't have. Is it on there already? I think it might be, but maybe.
Well, I'll
Okay.
look first,
Thank
okay.
you. Ryan?
The only thing I have is just to follow up to what I said at the last meeting. I actually have a meeting for, next week with the planning department for 2 things. One, you asked me to look into funding for, or grant opportunity for our, concert series. And the other one was for just a follow-up on a possible, possible grant that we might be able to get. I just want to get more information before I kind of talk about it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Janet?
The 4-H had a very successful fall harvest. They netted just under $20,000. Next weekend is their duck derby at the D&H Canal, and then the following weekend is we just had it. This past weekend was their open house. Their,
So a little hay
yeah,
rides going
yeah,
by.
was the open house. Yeah, and then the duck derby.
Don?
Nothing with the old school. As far as the sewer plant goes, the contract information came from Casey Engineering that they're gonna submit. Nothing else, I guess. That's it, there's nothing else.
Highway, Dean?
I don't have a full trash report, but I can tell you it was definitely down from the spring. The electronics, we collected 15 pallets of electronics. And that was, I believe, about 66 TVs. The C&D, we filled 14 dumpsters in the 9 days. We also filled 3 metal dumpsters, so we shouldn't be in too bad a shape. It's definitely down. It was down from the spring.
Everybody's running out of stuff.
You'd like to think so. Tomorrow, Roger's gonna start removing the carpet out of the town hall, the hallway here. The tile is in down at Home Depot, so I'll be picking that up. So he'll probably get it stripped down this week, and I don't know how fast it goes, so he'll probably start tiling next week.
Perfect. Thanks, Dean. And you're gonna remember at the senior center, those curtain rods.
Curtain rods for the senior center, 6 windows.
Perfect. Thank you. Fire department? Police, Jim?
Just have the Kozlowski resignation, which you already discussed. Mobile Life tells us the oxygen equipment is in. We plan on training 3 dates in November, and we get a trifecta with that. We get the O2 certification, checking bloodborne pathogens they throw in, as well as AED CPR, so all our people will be refreshed in November with all those.
Perfect.
Jim, what kind of training do they give for oxygen?
I mean, yeah, it's
I like
the end of
that.
November. Yeah, I'll let you know next
All right,
time.
thanks, sorry.
I mean, I remember having it years ago, it's very brief, you know, it is supposed to be, you know, it has to be stored, right? And then these days, the volume depends upon patient list,
Okay,
you know, so they tell you how much volume, something like that.
got it, no, that was the key point, okay, I'll talk to you next time.
Perfect. That's it, Jim?
That's it? Thank you.
Village of Otisville, Diane?
The only thing I have, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we did, went ahead and adopted the same Halloween curfew as the town, so we're all on the same page with that.
Thank you. Old business, the Indigo Creek. There were a few of us that went to the county meeting, I believe it was a week ago Thursday now. It didn't seem as if they really wanted to budge very much, but it seems as if they made additional writing into the easement where the wells that are within 1,000 feet will be monitored and will also be included in the event that there's an issue with anyone's well that's within 1,000 feet of the Indigo Creek. So as they pull water from the Indigo Creek, the well will be monitored, and hopefully there won't be an impact. I don't know what the story is moving forward as far as, you know, is the 1 million gallons a day gonna turn into 5 million gallons a day? There were a lot of rumors that night that this is gonna go down the 17M corridor and end up at Legoland. Whether that's gonna happen, I have no idea. I don't know what it means for additional supplies. However, it was stated that if any additional supplies, it's back to the drawing board. So they'll have to start the whole entire process over again.
So this will affect Legoland?
Oh, I don't know. That was just a rumor. That was just a
It's
rumor.
for in this case.
Yeah, but
There's no plans to move further yet.
Yeah, the issue is Goshen didn't have enough water to give to Amy's Kitchen, so they're not gonna have enough water for Legoland. But once it exceeds the 1 million gallons a day, they have to go back to the drawing board and start over. So in other words, they'd have to have all the public hearings, they'd have to do.
so they'll start the process and pull the 1 million gallons a day. And then if they see that that's not enough, then they're gonna stop altogether and then redo it, or they're gonna continue to draw the 1 million gallons?
Oh, they'll continue to draw the 1 million gallons, but all of the testing has to be done first. So in other words, they're gonna do a 72-hour test where they basically see how much water comes out per day, nonstop for 72 hours. And as they do that, they're gonna check the impacts around, as they do the draw, so.
The legislator meeting's online, Janet. Both Dominic and Matt talked, I'm sorry, Dominic and Chad, sorry. But they answered a lot of questions. I think they did. I think it was informative to listen to at least.
But ultimately, I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Right now, the max is, I mean, there's potential that, well, Middletown has enough water to get Amy's Kitchen without doing anything, apparently. The deal the county has with them is the first 375,000 gallons a day is free. So the county is doing this to get more business. Anything above the 375, up to the 1 million, City of Middletown has to pay the county for 10,000 gallons, a certain amount per 10,000 gallons. And until the testing's done, I mean, they were saying it could be 15 years before they even do anything with it, or it could be as quick as 6 months. The problem is it's City of Middletown being the lead agency, and one's funding everything, so. The county said that now that we and Greenville are both listed, we should get correspondence all the way through, so as we get them, I'll be happy to share it.
And the legislature passed it, what was the vote, 21 members there, I believe?
20 to 1.
Yeah.
Who was the one that voted against it?
Roxanne
Roxanne
Sullivan.
Roxanne Sullivan, from the town of Crawford.
She thought there should be more testing before they voted on it. And all of the, you know, everyone's saying that this business is just gonna walk. And they had the vote, so
How long do we think this was going on before we knew about it?
a long time.
3 years. 3 years.
I think it was a really,
Seriously?
seriously.
Like 3
Ever
years
since
before
Amy's
they
Kitchen.
told us,
The town of Goshen has been working with Amy's Kitchen for 3 years to bring this project. And they made the comment that now that we're down in the 11th and a half hour, why are we throwing a wrench in the monkey wrench? And our question was, why did you wait till the 11 and a half hours to find a water source?
You know. I mean, you know, it's a little different. You walk in, you have to sign your name and say what you want to speak about, and you have 2 minutes.
I'm not sure.
I think it was 2 minutes, then it had a little buzzer go off, and that's it, you're done. Can't speak anymore. They shut your mic off. But,
I'm not going.
but we hopefully got our point across. But, as that comes through, David, maybe we can look at the language and make sure it's
Oh, absolutely.
everything that's promised.
And just as an initial, in a meeting we had with the city of Middletown, previously, as we had mentioned at the last meeting, the action that they took was to create the easement. It was explained to us that any potential development still has to go through its own seeker process with all of the interested and involved agencies. So if Middletown actually got to the point where they wanted to develop and start pulling water, they'd have to start with preliminary tests, then they'd have to be able to demonstrate a need to the DEC, and then they would have to go through the seeker process, all just for one piece of, for one well or one pump or something like that. So there are gonna be multiple stages if they decide to move forward with actually developing the property and the easement. But, they're gonna have to be subject to seeker review at every stage, so.
Perfect.
One meeting a month.
New business. The town property that we just bought for $7,500. I did mention it to the board a couple of weeks ago. The state was very, very interested in acquiring the property so that the Berry Ridge Preserve they could add these acreage to it. So I did give everyone a copy of the letter of intent from New York State. They're very, very interested. I did call them back, left a message the other day. So hopefully we can get the ball rolling. We don't actually have, Ryan, you went down and paid the bill. We don't actually have a deed. It should be here within 45 days. So I let them know all of that, and I will keep everyone posted as to how quickly the state, I'm not thinking it's gonna be that quick. Bless you.
True.
In this letter, it says 38.4 acres.
Yeah,
That's how many acres that was?
yeah,
Okay.
yep.
I thought it was, okay, that was something.
So, again, I just wanna keep everyone in the loop. So they are definitely interested, and hopefully, we can even sell it for more than what we paid for it. Budget modification, Kathleen? You did that?
please increase the revenue line in account 1520 in the amount of $201.12 for police personnel, for police service rendered to the China Arts Revival. Then increase revenue line in police personal services account A3120.1, $201.12 to represent this payment.
Thanks, Kathleen. And this is reimbursement from the
Moon Festival.
The Moon Festival for the police officer that they
Well,
requested.
technically, this says China Arts Revival.
Yes. So I would like a motion to approve the budget modification as read.
I'll make that.
motion.
Second,
Second the motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
The newsletter went out, Thursday and Friday. Hopefully, everyone received them. I know Kathleen had a few people in already today, so obviously they received them. And, we'll look at maybe August, September or something next year. That's originally when I wanted to send it out, and it just didn't work out that way. But again, just an update, hopefully everybody, all of the newsletters went out. David, this is your resolution, you wanna, do you have it?
We do have it.
Here. And basically what this is when the property was bought, 2000,
Which property?
when the property was bought from the Belinsky farm, it was bought out of the parkland. So for the last 6 years, we get nasty letters from the state saying, it should have been bought out of A, and we owe the money. So we kinda owe it to ourselves, but it should have been A parkland and not B parkland. We're not gonna stand up there and say, hey, you're from the village, please get out of the park. So, long and short of it, the sale of, the property to Cornell is going to act as 350 of the 550 that we spent, a repayment. But it needed to have proper language showing that this is exactly what we're doing. We've received some of the money in, and we're crediting back, it went into A, and we're giving it back to B. But it's funky language that it needed to have to satisfy the comptroller's office, so if you would, David.
Sure. Whereas the town of Mount Hope previously purchased property located on Finchville Turnpike and further described as section 13, block 1, lot 5 on the tax map of the town of Mount Hope. And whereas the town of Mount Hope financed the purchase through General Fund A, which is designated for the entire town. Whereas the General Fund A did not have sufficient funds to finance the purchase and borrowed the necessary funds in the amount of $550,000 from General Fund B, which is designated for town outside village. And whereas General Fund B continues to show an account receivable for the funds it loaned to General Fund A, and whereas General Fund B has not received any payments toward the receivable account, and whereas the town of Mount Hope sold a portion of the property acquired through this transaction to a private party on September 16, 2016 for the sum of $350,000, and whereas the proceeds of the sale were deposited in General Fund A, and whereas the town board would like to use the proceeds of the sale to make a partial payment on the account owed to General Fund B, therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Mount Hope shall move the proceeds of the sale of property located on Finchville Turnpike in the amount of $350,000 from General Fund A, entire town, to General Fund B, town outside village, in partial repayment of an outstanding account receivable, dated October 17, 2016.
Thank you, David. I would like a motion to approve this resolution as read.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
All ayes?
Yes.
Yes.
This has to be, all that.
Yeah, I have,
Motion to approve the resignation of Officer
Kozlowski.
Kowalski effective October 31st, 2016.
I'll make the motion to accept his resignation.
Second,
Second a motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. I have two other quick items, I hope. Just looking at the calendar with our next meeting not being until the 10th. Kathleen, would there be a way that you could close out the bills, maybe the 28th of this month, and we can have the board come in and sign?
I can do whatever.
I'm
I
just-
just have to let the department heads know.
I'm
that's
just
all.
thinking that it's almost a month. It's almost a month to the next meeting. I'm afraid of quite a few things being late.
As long as David says it's okay.
So how do we do that? Do we just just pick a date that the bills would be due in by, and then the board could come in and sign them?
If you're asking me, if you say the 28th, then I would have everybody have everything into me by the 27th. They would be processed in the afternoon of the 27th, and then they can come in at any time on Friday, the 28th, and sign.
Would the board be okay
Depending on
doing
whatever
that?
date you pick.
Or Monday the 30th, right, we could come in Monday also.
Well, it's up to.
That's Halloween, whatever you guys want. I just don't wanna wait
Yeah, it's
too.
fine with me, you know, you can do it the Friday and Monday, or Tuesday, Monday's the 31st, Tuesday.
Yeah, that's Halloween though.
Oh, okay,
So maybe we'll just do it the 28th, if everyone could just stop in and review them and.
yep, no problem.
So you want them ready on the 28th?
Yeah. Do we need a motion or anything for that?
I do want to be on the safe side.
So what is it, a motion?
Motion to have,
Basically to prepay, right?
yeah, to prepay vouchers, presented to the town clerk's office by the 27th of October.
Okay, so a motion to approve all town vouchers to be reviewed and paid for, by the 27th.
Well, to be, yeah, I'm accepting them through the 27th, and they'll be ready the 28th. We'll fix,
Okay, so a motion to approve all department heads to turn in their bills by the 27th, close of business. And for the town board to come in and review all of the prepays on or around the 28th of October.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Dominic, do you wanna go over, do you want me to go over that thing that Julie brought up about the septic?
I can go over a little bit of it from what I know of it, but there's been a couple of issues in the town with people who have rebuilt their septic systems without a permit, and that's something that requires a permit. And as they are cited for a violation for not having the permits of septic, normally what they would do is they would allow their engineer to write something up and have it approved. But being that they've already been underground, we want permission to have Julie send KC Engineering to look at it and go over their plans to make sure their plans are right, and if need be, go visit the site. There's actually several of them around now that this has happened to. A lot of people don't realize that they need a permit when they rebuild their septic system, but they do. You need a permit whenever you rebuild any of the facilities in your house, especially a septic system. The laws have changed over the years with distances from your well to septic to your neighbor's well. So that creates a little bit of an issue. That's why we want to protect ourselves. Even though we require an acre to build on in the town, it's very rare that you can get 100 feet from your septic to your well and 100 feet from your neighbors. So we need to have engineering look at that to see if these things comply with the law. I'm not sure how the new laws work on it, but we don't want people just to come in and put a septic system in and affect their neighbor's well without engineering looking at it.
So David, if it's a new house, it goes through the planning board, and obviously our engineer can look at it.
Well, they'd be getting it anyway because they'd have to pull the permits for new construction, so that would be a part of the permit and inspection process.
The problem is ones that
Yeah.
have rebuilt their septic without a permit.
Yeah, they'd have to,
Existing house.
they have to come in. Frankly, I'm a little surprised because I'd be more worried about the DEC than I would the town as far as putting in a septic without permits, but, yeah, I think that's perfectly appropriate that, they should be heading to the building department anyway in order to pull the permit for it, so to have the engineer inspect it or the building inspector inspect it certainly seems like the, natural end product if they want to get their CO.
Well, they're replacing what's
Existing,
there,
yep.
or they're completely redoing it and putting it someplace else? Because
Well,
isn't it
even- no.
50 feet, it's 50 feet to the tank and then 100 feet to the leach field, correct?
Well, the tank has to be a
From the
minimum
well.
of 10 feet, from the well, 100 feet. You're,
I thought it was 50 feet for the tank and 100 feet for the leach field, no?
well, the law has changed, so I can't tell you that for sure, but in any event, no matter what they do, it has to be approved by an engineer before they have done it. And these people have gone ahead and replaced systems without engineering, so we're requiring, even if their engineer comes in and says, this is what we did, and here's the paperwork to show what we did, we would like permission to have our engineers look at that paperwork and if necessary, review the site. Because there are many septic systems that are too close to the neighbor's well because we only require an acre of land. So that was a very common practice at one time, but the laws have changed.
So what do we have to do, David? Like, do we have to have a local law for that, or is it just common sense?
No, they should be pulling the permits from the building department anyway, so I spoke to Julie earlier today. Her concern was over one that apparently pulled out a tank and was putting in a leach field with no permits, so, if she is aware of any other properties where that's happening, she can issue stop work orders and make sure they're pulling proper permits, which would require, inspections.
Right, but I guess my question is, so if you come in and get a permit,
Mm-hmm.
does the permit say you gotta have engineered,
Absolutely.
like our engineer?
It ultimately will, because they're gonna
Well, it
have
has
to pass a
be
final
designed by
inspection and
an
get the
engineer,
CO.
And it can be their own engineer. But what Julie's looking for is permission to have our engineer review the plan.
Who's gonna pay them for that review?
So it should be
The
the
resident.
applicant.
Right now, there's only one that's of concern, but there's actually several that have been done. And as they catch up to them, as they find out ones that have been done, they can go back to them and cite them for doing construction without a permit. And that's the hard part to inspect it because it's already underground.
So we're gonna find them?
Well, we're not gonna, we don't have to try and find them, but we want their engineering report that shows how it was
To
built.
fine, are we going to fine them?
Oh, yes, they pay a fine, yes.
Well, potentially, depending on, yeah, it ultimately is gonna depend on what the prosecution would be, but if a violation is issued
And if it
and
can't be
compliance is
corrected-
achieved right away, there might not be. But ultimately, the goal is compliance, so if people are refusing to give information they're supposed to be giving, then certainly the fines are appropriate.
So if it goes in front of the planning board, the applicant automatically pays, but what we're looking for is permission for the town to pay KC to review plans that we received for ones that have been already done underground.
But if you're saying there's only one that's an issue right now, how many are there total?
Oh,
No, because only one of them has been reported.
Yeah, I think I think we just seem we found a loophole in the system, you know, because normally, again, new construction, it's gonna be reviewed, and just replacing, obviously, it's not being reviewed.
Only one of them has been brought to Julie's attention so far, but over the years, there's many that have done this, and as they get, if you catch up to them, this is a recourse to go back at. Just like if you put a deck on your house and you never got a permit, but then when they reassess your property and they find the deck, they go back and make you go through the whole engineering process, the application process. When you find it after it's done, it gives you the ability to go back and collect that and make sure that's right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So if our engineer is looking into certain ones, how are we gonna recoup our money to pay for the engineer that's gonna go out, our engineer? Is there gonna be a process down the road where if
Well,
our
if it-
engineer is involved, I realize we're talking one now, but if we're talking a lot, that's,
If it was our planning board, then the applicant would have been responsible.
okay.
This particular thing, I mean, that's why I think it should say it on the permit,